Watching the news one more time, we're watching a high-profile couple in serious marital difficulty. The esteemed General Petraeus reports that an affair was had with his biographer, once more launching a series of talk shows, announcers, networks following the details and speculating on will this marriage be saved. Long list of high-profile figures who've had affairs raising the question, can marriage survive an affair? From my professional experience dealing with hundreds and hundreds of couples, absolutely that can happen. However, 4 steps have to be followed, and they have to be followed very carefully. Number 1, the affair has to stop immediately. For any kind of therapy to move forward, for there to be any kind of reconciliation, for trust to be reestablished, the affair has to stop. No contact, no emails, no text, nothing. That's difficult because the person having the affair may experience a sense of loss, may have a lot of feelings that are unresolved, but if the marriage is going to survive, the affair has to stop. Secondly, and this sounds like a no-brainer, but many couples fail to realize this, trust has to be reestablished. Those couples that make it will go to any steps possible to reestablish trust. That means nothing is off limits. Turn over passwords to computers, to smartphones, to any private accounts. There can be no private accounts, no private emails. Everything has to be open. If your spouse asks to see your phone, wanting to check your text, wanting to see your emails, by all means turn it over. To say no is to raise a question about whether there's something that's got to be hid. Along the same lines, put everything out there up front. Not necessarily sexual details, but don't leave out anything. Because if the recovery process starts and then more details emerge, there's going to be a serious setback. Point number 3, the person who had the affair has to move into the pain of their partner. They have to understand the pain is like trauma. The foundation has been rocked, it's been cracked, it's been broken. Their partner doesn't know what's real. They don't know what to trust. They don't know what to do with their hurt. They can't stop the slideshow of pictures flashing through their head of all kinds of scenes they never wanted. Couples that make it, the offending partner, the one that had the affair, will move consistently towards the pain of the other. They'll absorb the anger. They'll absorb the rage. They'll absorb all of the crying, all of the anguish, and they won't try to shut it down. They won't get defensive. They won't say, well, if you hadn't, fill in the blank, this never would have happened. They absorb the pain and take responsibility. And they don't say things like, hey, it's been 3 months, can we get over this? They consistently move into the pain. Finally, the 4th principle. If those first 3 are happening, and it's been happening for a while, we move towards a stage of forgiveness. The first stage of forgiveness is beginning to let go of using what happened as a club. Persons who will say, well, I may have been unhappy, but at least I didn't have an affair. You let that go. The next stage of forgiveness is so much more difficult. It's moving to restore intimacy. This stage means understanding there were some pre-existing problems, that there were other issues perhaps that need to be resolved in the marriage. But it begins to move towards the restoration of intimacy. So, can a marriage be saved after an affair? Absolutely. It can even emerge stronger if those 4 principles are followed. The affair stops, trust is reestablished, the offending partner moves into the pain, and then finally they enter a process of forgiveness, reconciliation, and rebuilding. And that often involves the help of a good, trained marital therapist.